Hey, Jermaine, with the transition that you're making to three technique, I'm just curious on your thoughts on how the move is going and kind of how you feel like you've adapted to the new position and in what ways the change is going to be able to benefit you as a player.
I feel like the biggest change was me physically, just getting my body right to play three tech. Because last year I played more of a DN dominant scheme. So I said the biggest transition was my body. So trying to get a little bigger, but adding on the right weight and not just putting on fat, but putting on more muscle. So I feel like I did a good job of that with the help of Coach Joe, Coach Clayton, and Coach Diaz. So yeah.
Trevor.
Jermaine, I think you were the leader last year in the Pac-12 at tackles at defensive end. How do you feel like you can just perform statistically now, and what opportunities exist now that you're going up against guards and centers as opposed to tackles?
I feel like I can cause a mismatch, but this season, I'm not too really worried about stats. I just feel like whatever I need to do for the defense and just win my matchup. When what Coach Hearn says, just win our one-on-ones and you'll be fine. So I try not to worry about stats. I just try to just win my matchups, my one-on-ones.
Adam.
Hey, man. So one thing Coach Rodriguez just talked to us about was how well DJ Davidson's done at nose tackle on the line and kind of leading that defensive line. Can you talk a little bit about his play and what his leadership brings for you guys on the line?
I just told DJ today at the meeting that he looks way different than he did last year. Like he's more physical, more powerful this year than last year. I don't know if it had to do with the scheme because last year's scheme we were going more left and right, and this scheme is more straight downhill and more pro-like scheme. So I just told him too earlier at the meeting that he looks way different than he did last year, way better than he was last year.
Jacob.
You mentioned the physical changes that you've had to make with your body. Where are you now weight-wise? And you mentioned that you're not 100% where you want to be. Where do you feel like is the best weight for you to be playing at?
I don't feel like it's a certain number. Just right now I'm like around 295, 300. But like the way I looked last year compared to now, I feel way better in my body just because last year I didn't have too much muscle on me. It was more finesse last year, so I knew coming into this game I needed more. I need to put on more muscle and a little more weight. So, yeah, I feel like Coach Joe helped me a lot this offseason because after quarantine, I came back a little heavy. And then since then, I trimmed down a lot and put on way more muscle thanks to our strength staff.
Cole.
Hey, Jermaine, you said stats don't really matter too much to you this season, but obviously defenses are going to look at last year's numbers. Do you think defenses are going to game plan for you? And do you have any strategies to combat that?
Well, I feel like our defense is well-rounded this year. Our DBs are stacked. We have like veteran linebackers, and our D-line is deep this year too, or deeper than we were last year. So I feel like if defense try to game plan against me, some of my teammates probably have a chance to do something. So I feel like it's gonna be hard for offense to just game plan on just one person, and knowing that we have a lot of playmakers on defense.
Trevor.
Sort of just zooming in on your technique and overall approach as a three technique now, what were your focuses on that standpoint over the last couple months with Coach Rodriguez, and how do you feel like you're adapting on that front?
I feel like the transition to three tech helped a lot with Coach Rod because Coach Rod came from the league where they were four down linemen, so he spent a lot of time. And Coach Rod, he's like he knows a lot about the game that I didn't know. Like I learned so much with just a couple months that I've been with Coach Rod than I've done with my previous coaches. I mean, no disrespect or knock to my other coaches. They were all great coaches, but I just feel like Coach Rod and what he knows about the game just helped the transition way more to three tech than it was last year.
Michelle.
You hit my question, Jermaine. I was going to ask you what it's like to play for Coach Rodriguez and what you've learned most from him.
What I learned most from Coach Rod is just the little things. I mean, last year I was I don't know, my game, like I feel like the way I should play this year is just so different from last year just because Coach Rod, like, he focused a lot on little things. So I feel like if I can I feel like I did all right last season. So with the help I got from Coach Rod, I feel like I should have a good season this year. And the defense as well with the whole scheme and everything.
Jacob.
Last year, Jermaine, you had mentioned to me that one of the things that you weren't totally satisfied with was your technique and your ability to kind of do everything that you were capable of doing at the most maximum level of efficiency. You told me that you were kind of disappointed in your performance in that regard. In what ways do you think that this year you're going to be able to kind of build on that and maintain the success you had last year, but still be more effective in the ways that you want it to be?
I feel like the biggest thing is probably experience and just maturity, because I'm bigger, stronger, and like more explosive than I was last year. But I feel like the biggest thing that helped me like for this year is just my experience, and then just just maturing as a player and as a person. Plus with the help of Coach Rod, Coach Lewis, and especially AP.
Gabe.
Yeah, Jermaine, Tyler, a lot of people have been talking about Tyler Johnson and him making the move to defensive line. What have you seen from him, and what tips have you given him as he's moved from linebacker to being kind of putting his hand in the ground and being an outside defensive end?
I'd probably say it looks more like natural for him being at the end than he probably was at linebacker. But that was just me personally. I feel like Tyler was always a defensive lineman, but he's just so athletic and so, just gifted that he could have, like, he was able to play linebacker last year. But I feel like this year, especially with Coach Rod, Coach Rod, like, I don't know, I was just real grateful for Coach Rod being here, because he's, like, installed so much, and just not just me as, like, a player, but everybody as men. So I feel like he's done a great job just helping everybody. So, yeah.
Trevor.
Jermaine, obviously you have a veteran presence among this defensive line group. What responsibilities do you see for yourself from a leadership standpoint, and then maybe helping some of the ends adjust since you were there last year too?
I feel like the biggest thing is just setting an example and just try to do everything right. As hard as, because the stuff we do with Coach Rod is real hard and real technical, because, it's just stuff that we're not used to doing. So I feel like what I told, like, some of the young guys is just be patient. Like, you're not going to get everything right the first time. That's how it was when I first got here. Like, I learned so much new stuff, because it takes, like, the higher up in the level we go, from, like, high school to college to the NFL, the more technique matters. So, like, everybody comes from high school where they're just powering somebody or just running by somebody. So, like, the higher up you go, like, the more technique matters. So that's why I tell them, like, the technique part is going to be hard. You just got to be patient and just learn.
Last question, Jacob.
Last year, on a couple occasions, you had mentioned that you really appreciate expectations, and you like it when people set expectations high for you. What do you think those expectations are for you this year? Maybe not necessarily your goals, but what do you think your coaches are expecting of you and your teammates are expecting of you?
Probably to just lead. Everybody knows I don't really talk a lot. I try to set example or just lead the team through action, but probably I know my coaches expect me to just make an impact in every game. So